Okay, now we're live. I had a little trouble getting hooked up tonight, technical difficulties and all that, you know. But anyway, good evening. I'm Rusty, and this is Monday, December 23rd, 2019, the day before Christmas Eve. And we're due to mixed up schedules this week. We're going to have a short show tonight, probably. And so I might cut it off a little early, maybe 11:30, maybe 12 if we're doing really well. But anyway, as usual, the links are posted in all the usual places. That would be on the Stunthangar Control Line forums on the main forum page. Scroll down till you find the thread or the forum section called At the Bench, and the link to tonight's post will have today's date in it. It should have gone up right about the time I started the show, which was 9:45, I think, about 5 minutes late tonight. And as usual, I always post it right when the show starts. It's never there before that. And those of you that want to come in with a microphone and a camera can use the link in that thread. Or if you prefer to watch in anonymity, or if you don't have a camera or a microphone, you can use the YouTube page, the Stunthangar YouTube page. And that's easy enough to find on the Stunthangar forums. And talk to us in the chat box. We've got a chat box, text chat box on the YouTube page where you can ask questions, answer questions, give us opinions or whatever you've got, and we'll try to incorporate that into our conversations here. Got a couple of people on the tube already. Three people. Bob Bishop just signed in. Hey, Bob. Jack Snavely. And let's see, Jack Snavely. Let me see. I got to adjust my chat box so I can read the whole thing. Jack Snavely says, he says, hello again, Rusty, and all else in the hangar or shop. And Tom Rammel says he'll be in soon. And it looks like Denny just dropped in on us. So, as usual, we try to keep our show family room friendly because we don't want to violate any of the COPPA laws now that are protecting our children's privacy, which unfortunately means that for the time being, we can't allow children or grandchildren to come in with you on the computer, and that's unfortunate. I hate that. I didn't make that rule, but we're going to do it that way for a while, just until we see how these rules are treating everybody else on the forums, and so we're erring on the side of caution for that. But anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody. Gerald Winter just dropped into YouTube. Hi, Rusty. Season's greetings to all, and Merry Christmas. Thank you, Gerald. I'm still trying to get my chat box adjusted so I can read all the words. There we go. And okay, Denny, you're my first live visitor, so welcome.
Well, good to be here, Rusty. Merry Christmas and thanks for hosting again.
Merry Christmas. Glad to see you. I think we're
Yeah,
probably going to do a short one tonight because I got to get up at a little after 4 to go to dialysis in the morning, and
yeah,
I hadn't even taken a shower yet. I forgot it was Monday. The
yeah.
schedule changes, and I forget what day it is, and I didn't realize until Holly said something about it
Mhm.
earlier this evening, and I said, "What? The show? Oh my gosh, I forgot about it."
Well,
So
hey, all I know is that for the first time ever, I got here before Tom did. So,
you did. Tom must have tripped over something because he sent me a message on YouTube, said, "I'll be there in a little bit," and you beat him
yeah.
in.
Merry Christmas, Tom. How you doing?
Thank you, Danny. I'm doing good. How about you?
Hanging in there. Have a totally airplane unrelated problem that I'll bet you could probably help me with. If we get it around to it, maybe we can chat about it a little bit. But, so,
Sure.
If you got something you think Tom
well,
specifically
I don't
knows
know.
about, go ahead and chat about it. So,
The question I have is, I don't know if maybe Tom's has some experience. I got a solid state drive. I'm going to try to put, I got a couple of them, one for my laptop, one for my wife's. And Crucial Drive, I'm trying to use the software that they promote for it for cloning the drive. All right. The idea being that, once the drive is cloned, I'll be able to, physically remove the old drives from the machines, put the new solid state drives in that are supposed to be more dependable and faster and everything like that. And I've gone through trying to clone this drive 3 times, and I've got 3 times drive failed to clone. See the log? Well, there's no, there is no log, or at least not visible or anything like that. So I guess in a long and windy way, have you ever been through anything like that? Have you ever tried cloning a drive like that?
Well, we used to use a program called Ghost to clone drives, but I haven't done it recently. I wouldn't think it would be much different for a solid state drive versus a regular spinning drive. Is it a PC or is it a Apple or what? What do you?
It's a PC, laptop PC, and the new drive is
Okay.
the Crucial solid state. I understand Crucial is supposed to be a pretty good name, and they have the recommended software that I had to download and everything like that. I actually chatted with my brother about it. He's been through the same thing, and it worked. Worked like a charm for him. And of course, I've got cold hands or something like that, and the PC doesn't like me. But I tried applying Rusty's approach there, choking the data out of it and everything like that. It's not impressed with me at all. So
yeah, and computers are one of the only machines that what I like to call percussive maintenance does not work on very well.
that's it.
And,
That's it.
but I've got some experience. I mean, I run 2 full images of my disk, which is not quite the same as a clone, but I run 2 full images of my disk every week on Sunday night and Wednesday night, and I use a free software called Macrium Reflect, and I used to use Acronis True Image, but I switched to Macrium Reflect when I got this computer about 5 or 6 years ago, and
Yeah, I'm trying to use the Acronis. So yeah, okay.
Acronis is kind of clunky. It seemed like we were always having to put band-aids on something with Acronis, but Macrium has been flawless since I've been using the free version, and it hadn't failed me yet. I've gotten to where I trust it enough to where if one of my programs screws up, like my Outlook gets email corrupt sometimes, or if Chrome goes to hell and I lose all of my passwords or something, I just or run a full restore, and 2 hours later it's like magically nothing ever happened, except
Terrific.
for a couple of days if I've downloaded pictures or something the past couple of days. If they're not in email or something, then they might be gone. But other than that, it works. It works great.
Okay, can you spell
Is
that?
that
Macrium,
Okay.
and that's the first word, and reflect, Reflect. Hey, Bob.
Macrium Reflect.
And
All
Gerald,
right.
and yeah, and the free version of Macrium Reflect, I've found it to be bulletproof for me.
is that a backup or is that a full? Does it have the operating system on there also?
I'm not running an ongoing backup. What I'm doing is taking the image. It's like a snapshot of my hard drive, copying it over onto an external drive, and I have enough room to store about 4 weeks worth of them. And so, if I have to restore it, I can't. I can mine it for individual files, but it's I usually don't bother to do that. If something screws up, I usually just lay the whole image back over right on top of my disk. It wipes it in a computer's disk clean and lays over whatever was on it last Wednesday or Sunday, whichever day I'm
Including
playing.
the operating system.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I was trying to go for the clone, is that I wanted the operating system. I wanted to be able, just swap the new drive in, and at least it sounded like it should have been possible to make that happen, pretty seamlessly, and just
yeah.
get the newer drive in place of the older drive. Then I was going to turn the old drive into a backup disk, basically. So
hmm And I unplug my external drive when it's between backups, just in case viruses come along. I don't want them crawling into my backups, but I think they're pretty impervious anyway because they don't. They're not really active unless you can open it with that Macrium software. But if
okay,
you've got, yeah, but if you get, if you decide to try the Macrium, I can um, coach you up on it, and I'll have to coach myself back up on it so I can speak knowledgeably about it. But I've never had any problem making it work.
okay. I'll give it a shot, and I'll give you a shout out if I have any trouble with it or anything like that.
Okay.
So
And I need to get off topic here a second and say good evening, Gerald. Thanks for the super chat contribution. And hey, Bob, I'm glad to see you're in tonight. I see it must be chilly down there. You got your toboggan hat on,
Yeah,
short sleeves, and your toboggan hat. So it might not be that cold.
it's actually pretty good. It feels good.
yeah, yeah. We had a rough day here. It hit 60 today, so I don't know. I don't know, Tom. You up to freezing yet up there?
We got up to 30 today. It was
Holy
a pretty
mackerel!
nice day.
Wow.
People were walking around with no coat on. It was
Yeah,
up to
that's
30
it.
degrees.
And it was,
Well, heck,
it
up
was,
there in Minnesota with 30 degrees, they're probably walking around in tank tops and cutoffs, aren't they? But
Not quite, but at least no coats.
yeah, that's it.
you
Sandal,
got to
flip
wear
flop,
your shorts to
whatever.
go ice fishing.
Yeah.
I was
It
out
was,
on the lake on Saturday and did a little bit of flying with a float plane on the. So I got out when we had 30-degree weather.
how thick is the ice on that lake now?
I didn't drill a hole, so I don't know for sure, but I saw a car driving on it last night, and it didn't fall through. So
Well, that's
it's
always good.
probably, it might be 8 or 10 inches. I don't know.
Well, heck, you can put a car on that. So
Yeah. Yeah, there was a car driving on last night.
you can put a car on it. Actually, that's the way I meant to say that. I
Oh,
don't know. They used to do that we had a plant up in Cadillac, Michigan, up up near Traverse City area, and they had in the kind of late winter, like February, March time, they always had a festival out on the ice, basically. And I don't know, it just freaks me out driving on a lake like that. It's like
Oh
you're not
yeah, it would me
supposed to
too.
do that. Well,
we
there's like
we
hundreds of
get
people out there and hundreds of cars out there on the ice. It's like, hey, folks, let's why don't we go tempt fate here?
Sooner or later, one more car is going to bust it. There used to be an
Yeah,
old
that's it.
back when disposable razors were. Now, what was it? Back when some electric razor was coming into style, there was a TV commercial where somebody in a high-rise New York apartment dropped one razor blade into a disposal slot, and it backed off and showed the whole building just crumbling down. And so,
Yeah,
no matter how many of them get on it, sooner or later, one of them's gonna be the last straw and bring the whole thing down.
that's it. That's it. I remember that commercial, but I always thought that
When
was
Tom Cruise drives out in the limo onto the ice in the Ducks hockey. What was that movie? The Ducks was the name of the team. It was before the Oregon Ducks, I think, were the Ducks, or before some pro team was.
yeah.
It was a hockey movie. It was a popular movie, but I just cringed in the theater. I saw it in the theater, and he's driving out on the ice, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
our company is a German. We have German interns that come over from Germany, and they've never, heard of driving on the ice. So they come out to my place and they just so they can drive on the ice and get that experience that.
You ever see that movie, the Darwin Awards?
Yeah. No, I hadn't
Yeah.
seen the movie. But
And there
that's
was
a good.
one on there where a guy was out fishing with dynamite. He was out on the ice and he threw the dynamite out. But he didn't realize his retriever went out and got the dynamite, brought it back under the car, blew up and took the car, killed the dog.
That sounds good. Yeah.
Except for hurting the dog,
The
Yeah.
first time I ever heard of the Darwin Awards, somebody had rewritten a story and embellished it, but it was about whoever took a 67 Impala and bolted a Dato to it.
Yeah.
And with his embellishment, I don't think I've ever laughed so hard in my life.
That's a true story.
I know
I think Mythbusters actually looked into that.
Yeah, I remember watching the Mythbusters on that. So I don't know. So that made it true, even if it was just an urban legend before that. So
Yeah.
hey, if the Mythbusters did it, it had to be real. So what the
Yeah,
heck?
no kidding. Yeah, when my son was a youngster, he used to love that show. Hey, Gerald's got an airplane. What you got there, Gerald?
Well, it's just my Thunderbird. I've been working on it. It's a two-piece system that I can unbolt the wheels and the wing from it. So it's got basically tongues. It's my old-fashioned system. It's not anything flashlight Tarian system. It's just got two tabs on it, on the front and rear. The tab here is a plywood piece, and the undercarriage bolts to that as well, so I can take the undercarriage off as well. I'm just getting to the point where it's nearly ready to sand. It's hinged, and the flat connectors, this bit here, I've still got to do a bit more work on it too. But where the push rod from the bell crank goes into here, and your push rod from the elevator goes in here, and grab the model. You can see this is a system I've used a lot before the rest of the models over here. So the little push rod there slides in, and then once the wing's in place, it can't extract itself. It's locked up against it. It'll hit the fuselage side.
Yeah.
That's the and then it's got the two blocks where you'll just put the line nuts in on both ends.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then normally you put a key into the fuselage side as well, so it can't move against the fuselage. So yeah, that's coming along now. Just got to do the tail. I've been working on hinging it and doing my I've got a little bit more to do around the sanding and all, and finish off the cowl, but I'm slowly getting there. But I got distracted because I was helping Otto, who wanted to have a new model ready for the Nat. So he got a twister kit. No, not a twister kit. He got a 6 Skyray kit, and he did like you did, Rusty, and he
Right, there you go. That's the video title, and that's the it.
Okay.
So
So
you can
it'll have a different profile. It won't just have the normal nice taper to it, like you did with yours.
I think we got something in the background on somebody's channel. That's John's channel. John, you got something going on? Hey, Santa Claus. You got some noise in the background over there?
I've got my mic off.
Okay. Well, we're all clear now.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying, Otto's putting together a Skyray, so he'd love to bring it on and show you, but I can always post some pictures when it's finished on Stunthangar.
Yeah.
And
I hate that we're not allowing children to come on right now. I don't think it's really that necessary, but until we figure out what the COPPA laws really mean to us, we'll do what Sparky says. And Sparky says we can't afford to be fined, so let's keep the children off for right now.
Yeah, I've told them that they know about it. But if they enjoy watching the rerun.
Does that mean we all have to leave?
No, y'all, there's a certain age of children. There's a certain age of children that can come on, and I think 60 and above are okay. I think we all fit that bill right now.
I don't think Dennis does. Do you, Denny?
I missed the opening part of that. But what was that?
You're not over 60, are you?
Actually, I am. I'm 65.
You know how old that makes me feel?
Well, you are the big brother.
I know
so,
you're
yeah.
the little brother. I thought you were a really little
Yeah.
brother. So, wow.
Hey, I love control line modeling. It's the only place I can go where they call me kid.
Yeah.
Right.
How about it?
They still call me kid. So what can I say? So
Oh, Bob Bishop said The Mighty Ducks. That was the name of that movie.
Mighty Ducks.
right.
Yeah. And we got some possible scrolls somebody's watching that says "Hi Santa, Merry Christmas" and "Hi to Santa Claus" there. That's why we've got Santa Claus in here. Hey, that's a great looking hat you got there, Santa. The glasses
thank
work
you.
for you too.
You got a great
No, thank
connection
you.
tonight, John. You're looking
Yeah,
good tonight.
covers up the bald spot.
Now, Santa, when you land on the roofs, tomorrow night or day after tomorrow, make sure that you don't touch any of the electrical wiring on the roofs.
That's it.
I've heard about that. No, I plan on
Yeah, I'm
landing on
thinking that.
Bob. I plan on landing on your roof, starting up my Nobler and flying it around and around, and winding it up around your. You don't have a smokestack though, do you?
No.
Deliver all the presents by
Chimney.
trail.
So I don't have to worry about hitting that and winding around that.
No. But you do have some electrical lines out front. So you can fly in the backyard, though. We fly there all the time.
Oh, okay.
Just make sure it's electric and don't wake up my neighbors.
Oh, well, it's going to be electric, yeah.
Okay.
But I've got a sound generator built into it.
No.
It sounds like a one of them Packard what is it, 16 cylinder whatever it was they put in the Mustangs at one time. Those big Packard Merlins. I
Well,
wish.
I don't care who you are, fat boy. Get the reindeer off my roof, you know.
So how y'all doing? Y'all ready for Christmas?
Yeah.
Ready or not?
It's coming.
That's right. No, we've
Yeah,
actually
few
had
hours
all the
away,
family
yeah.
Christmas parties and everything like that. And actually, the only thing left there's Christmas breakfast over at my daughter's house, and we'll probably take all the decorations down that afternoon. So
Well, we're having quiche, I think it is, for Christmas,
Breakfast.
for breakfast.
Real Santas don't eat quiche.
Yeah, real Santas will eat quiche.
They don't. Real Santas don't eat quiche.
very good, excellent.
What do we have for dinner?
For Christmas night or
Yeah.
tomorrow night?
Leftover
For tomorrow
quiche.
night.
For tomorrow night, we're having fried chicken, mashed potatoes, peas, and gravy.
Oh, there you go.
Okay,
Good
well,
old southern meal.
Yeah, I'll be there. You're only about 2,000 miles away, so
Yeah, you should be a short hop, you know.
yeah.
It's only about 7 hours in a jet plane.
Can I help you, Nana?
That's it. It's closer than New Zealand, that's for sure. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, 70 degrees here and very, very warm Christmas here.
You guys will get Christmas before we will.
yeah, but
Yeah, yeah.
he's got 90 degrees or above down there for his Christmas.
No, it's actually quite nice. It's cloudy outside. It's looking like nice flying weather. But yeah, it's about, looking at my thermometer, it's about 75 degrees right now. So you can.
What time is it?
75.
Ooh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, too lucky.
It's about
What
4
time
in the afternoon.
Jerry, what time is
About 4:15 in the afternoon.
it for?
About 4:15 in the afternoon. And 16
Yeah, that's
hours.
right. It's 4 o'clock on and in the afternoon on Christmas Eve there, isn't it? So you're going to have
Yeah,
Christmas
so
before we do.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got to go away in a few days down to our national, so we're trying to get ready for that. So we've been building and repairing models and trying to get things ready because we drive down on the 30th of December and then we'll stay
Participants.
until the, Yeah, we'll fly in stunt and scale, and Otto will fly in combat and stunt and scale, and Max will fly in scale and stunt as well. So we'll all give it a go.
How many participants do you normally get at a Nats?
We normally only fly control line, but amongst the control line flyers, it would be about 50 people. Not a terribly great number. It used to be a lot more years ago. But
same here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really big in the past. You'd just be caravans everywhere and everybody camping and tents all over the place. But now it's much reduced, aging demographic. A few juniors along, but not like you used to have, which is a bit sad. But it does mean you know everybody there. That's one good thing. You sort of, it's like meeting up with old friends. Those that are flying tend to be those that have been flying a long time, so we're all well known to each other. I think the first nationals I went to was in about 1980, and a lot of the faces haven't changed since then. It's stayed pretty much the same. We seem to recycle more than we bring along new ones. The only new ones are the kids that we have. But, yeah, we try and drag them in with different events. And we used to have a Model X model exhibition that we'd put on, where our club would put on an expo, a modelling expo. And that didn't really draw a whole lot of people. I don't think we got one new member out of that for many years of work. And we used to run a mini air show. We'd do a control line display, and they'd have it at a race course and it would bring in lots of people. But again, we got no new modelers out of it. In a way, the internet seems to have more success in pulling in people that are interested, or at least getting some of the old modelers back. They can find us more easily on the internet than try to find us at a flying site, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because of the noise, it's meant most of the flying sites are well out of public view. When we used to fly in very public places, that was great for picking up new members. We used to have a
Well, how
very
many
public.
people do we usually get at our U.S. nationals, at our Nats?
What's
How
that?
many control liners?
I think it was in the. Well, are you talking about just the official events, or are you talking about all of the events?
I just official
Well, just start
event.
with stunt event. Let's just start with that.
Probably around in the mid 50s, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's been running in the 50s, for quite a while, sometimes a little less, or sometimes a little more.
Yeah.
Had not a lot of luck with junior and senior participation, but even that, just the last couple of years, we got some kids. What's his name? Yeah, we got Mike Alamoff's kids are involved now, and your guy out east, I can't think of his name right now. Joe
Daly, yeah.
Yeah, Joe Daly's kids, and of course Samantha was there for a long time, and yeah. So
And
it's
Sam Line is one of them now.
Yeah, we've had pretty good luck with the unofficial events. Old time, classic, and then intermediate and beginner are flown as unofficial events. So they don't actually count towards the official tally at the end of the nationals. It's like like they're not even there. But they've been getting.
We got those to be official events, or recognized as official events. Yeah, you would be more entry fee for people, but it would also increase the official number, and that would make us look a lot better. We would fare better with AMA in the future if we could have greater numbers.
Well, at least they'll probably be future officials, if they're just flying exhibition flights now. But when they get a little older and a little better, they'll be hopefully paying the fees and flying the officials.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think there are, I think, especially among some of the older flyers and stuff like that, there are people who basically settle for flying just classic or just old time or something like that. And, they've actually already flown the official events in their past, or maybe not interested in flying it in their present or anything like that. So, what Bob's saying is right on target. If we wanted to show the true presence that Control Line has, we would make them all official events, but unfortunately that means they'd all have to pay the official entry fees and stuff like that too, which has been Well, I don't know. It's been a barrier, but
That's been the barrier control line. Unfortunately, people in control line don't spend any money. That's why none of the industry has given us anything or contributed anything for us, because there's no money in control line. People don't want to spend any money, and that's just a sad fact of life.
That's it. Numbers are small, steady, not growing. I don't think they're certainly not growing, but I don't know. I keep. And Bob, hell, you were in at the beginning. The Brodak fly-in gets a nice turnout of control line flyers and stuff like that. And it's a very much a laid back. It's a fly-in. I mean, it's not a hardcore, at your throat kind of competition thing. Although obviously, whenever I compete, I try as hard as I can. But the I guess the thing is that it surprises me that we seem to get a better entry at the Brodak fly-in. People stay for an entire week, and we seem to have a harder time, duplicating it at the Nats. And of course, the Nationals is, different. We're there to pick a national champion and everything like that. But even away from that, combat's doing very well. But carrier, speed, racing events, none of those do terribly well at the Nationals.
Speed had a little bump there for a while. They were getting quite a few entrants for a while.
Yeah. Combat, it might be the hottest one right now as far as growth goes. They seem to be having a lot of activity there.
One of the largest meets here in the west area, West Coast area, the Pacific Northwest Regionals. The last one I attended, they had, I think it was over 47 different control line events. It was packed. They had everything.
47.
They have a huge. Yes, they had everything that was legal. I may be wrong on that number, but they had a huge amount of events. They used up like 8 circles, constantly going all day for 2 days.
Is that when they flew like the WHAM events, things like different engine class stunt and stuff like that?
No. That was only the last one I went to was about 6 or 7 years ago. And I don't know what I don't know how big it is right now, but it is probably the biggest event on the Pacific Northwest or the Western states. The next one would be the Vintage Stunt Championship, and before that, one of the biggest would be the Southwest Regionals down in Tucson. That comes up in February.
And the Golden State too. But I think
the Golden State. Thank you for reminding me that. That's also big, and that's all stunt.
Okay.
It's hard going to some of those events because Paul Walker shows up to them, and several others of the top past champions and world champions show up there. So if you're flying, you're lucky to get, if you get 3rd place or get in the top 5 or 6, you've done very well.
To get on the U.S. team, you do not have to fly at the Nats, do you?
No.
You can. I didn't think so.
Just go to the team selection if you want to.
Yeah. Hey, we had John Skukulak dropped in on YouTube, says he just finished building a SIG dart for his 4-year-old grandson and left it bloody. He's got a bloody thumb to show for it. That's okay, John. I usually leave blood somewhere inside of every model I build. Jack Snavely suggests for a 4-year-old and that age range, they like to take a 5 or 6 foot piece of thread and let it go and hold onto the string and fly that for fun. That's a pretty good idea.
Hey,
hi, Sparky.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Sparks.
Looks like the gang's all here.
Yeah, pretty much. Gerald showed up again. Hadn't seen you in a while, Gerald, but I know this is the time of the year that's busy for you. We're all cooped up in the house because it's too dang cold to go outside. Y'all got nice, sweaty weather down there.
Yeah, we have been busy, and we might miss a few meets with our nationals coming up. We might not be able to, I won't be able to get online to all the Stunthangar videos, but I'll try when I can. At least try and post some of the pictures from the nationals. That would be good to do, I think.
We got Santa Claus here again tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah,
working.
he's
Yeah,
already
definitely- he
dressed
looks
out.
smart
Reindeer, got the reindeer feeding up on hay and ready to go.
And John's got that real beard that looks nothing like the ones we see at the supermarkets.
Yeah.
Santa, you better hurry after the show because it's already Christmas Eve down in where Gerald's part of the globe.
Well, I'll tell you a secret. I'll tell you a secret. It's not many people know it. Santa has 3 brothers, and they all look alike. And so, brother number 1 is down in the southern hemisphere already getting ready to move. So,
The South
I'm brother
Pole.
number 3. Yeah, South Pole. And he has an easy job there. There ain't nobody there. And except those people at those ice stations, why they have to be there. So he has to fly down there in 200 below zero weather, That's with the wind chill.
Well, NASA lost all the Christmas presents going to the space station earlier this week. Astronauts didn't get any presents.
They didn't call on us, If they'd called on us, we'd have got it up there.
Yeah, you can get it up there. You don't even need a spacesuit, do you?
No, because we got this magic thing goes around us,
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think of the old Cheech and Chong routine, a little magic dust. That's how the reindeer fly.
Yeah.
Magic dust. Hey, I'm hip, bud. I'm sorry.
Hey, man.
Yeah. Sorry, Rusty, you're about to kick me out of here, aren't you? Sorry.
No, I'll let it stretch a little bit.
All right. Yeah, you gave your opening comments and everything like that. I thought I got terrified. Maybe I shouldn't be here or something like that.
Yeah, I was wondering why you were running when you took your headphones off and went the other way, and it turns out you were just going to turn the lights off.
Well, I turned off the light behind me, and then we got 10 minutes into this, and my hearing aid battery went out. And I said, "Oh, geez."
Oh,
So I got that replaced. So I got stereo. I'm back to having stereo and everything like that. And now this light right over my head is glaring, but wow, what the heck?
I missed the first few minutes too. Is there some kind of new rules or something?
well, I was about 5 minutes late, so that's the only reason anybody was missing anything tonight.
Well, you
No
were
new rules.
some warning about keeping it friendly and all
Yeah,
that.
we do have new rules actually. Yeah, it's the COPPA laws that are not new, but they've only recently garnered headlines because YouTube had to settle up with the lawsuit, and COPPA is the Child's Online Privacy Protection Act, and everybody who produces content like we're doing here is warned to not to declare whether or not this is made for children, and we declare that it is not. And then during the show, do not do anything that might attract children or entice children under a certain age, which might be 13. I'm not sure about that, but we just got to make sure that we keep it clean, family room friendly is what I tell everybody. And we're not allowing people to bring their children on camera with us right now until we find out what everything means, because it's so poorly worded. We're just erring on the side of caution because Stunthangar, Sparky, can't afford to get fined for something we just accidentally do. And so we're erring on the side of caution. I'm just making sure everybody knows that when the show starts.
This is all about model airplanes. It's certainly not for kids.
Yeah,
Toy airplanes, yeah.
I guess it won't be. Isn't that ironic?
No,
We
It is.
successful in
It
attracting new modelers and stuff like that, we get kicked off. So,
Yeah. And the night that we found out about it, Tom had his grandsons on, and Gerald, brings his kids on, and Sam Leinke comes on, and it's all about having fun, good, wholesome fun, doing things that are good for your brain.
Mm-hmm.
I decided I better take my cap off. I better because that cap there looking like that much like Santa might attract kids, you know. So
Speaking
Oh,
of,
yeah. Oh, it doesn't-
That's true. That's true, John.
With
Very
it on,
true.
I also learned in the Santa gigs I do. I also learned that when I got a kid on my lap, I keep one hand on the shoulder and the other hand on my knee, so that there's no both hands are exposed, so there's no chance of anybody saying I'm doing anything unruly or untoward towards those children. Also, I have to have liability insurance. Can you believe that?
wow.
I believe it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you
I do.
do Santa gigs. I was wondering.
It used to be that we could go out to a field, and if a kid showed up and you had a trainer with you, you could teach them to fly. But now, if you take them out there and you put your hand on their shoulder, to guide them, you could get in trouble.
Yep.
But you can't even teach kids how to fly airplanes anymore unless you tell them to go home and get their parents and bring them back, and then do it then. It's just getting crazy.
Well, you don't see kids at the field anymore on their own. Like when we were kids,
No.
you'd go to the local park when you were going to be flying your plane on your own or with your mates. But now that doesn't happen. You go to any park and there's always a sea of parents and maybe the odd kid. But, it's quite different. Same here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But it is sad because you realise unless they go on line looking for it, they can't join in. But I know my boys enjoy watching the reruns of Stunthangar or enjoy watching model airplane videos. Shug's videos, they're always great. And even my sister-in-law enjoys watching Sparky's Bulls when he's been working on his Tucker, and she comes back and watches the reruns of the live shows. So there are other people. It's not just us older males that are watching. There are other people that are keen to observe.
At one time, we had 2,000 kids would fly in 1 week, flight control line at Oshkosh.
Gosh.
Um,
Young Eagle.
it's not quite that many anymore, but even there, you have to get signatures of parents and to fly.
Well, to show up there to help out, you got to have a background check and everything else
Yeah,
before you show up there to help.
right.
What a world.
No, that's it. Well, we're going to work within the rules and try and keep it all legal. That's the important bit now.
Yes. And I just remember with the other dads in the neighborhood, we were half a dozen of us were the board of directors for the T-ball league for a bunch of 4 to 7 year olds. My gosh, I'm surprised we survived that. So, well, onward. We'll make do. We'll make it work.
Yeah. So you're nearly ready for paint, Sparky.
Yeah, I'm going home tomorrow, so it'll be painted next week.
Terrific.
Nice.
A Warren Trust Tucker special.
Yep.
Interesting. Ron O'Toole would turn over in his grave. Well, wait a minute. He's not dead, is he?
No.
Well, this would kill him.
It's also something different on the wing construction. And I know that you probably thought of this before, but the leading edge, this whole leading edge is foam.
Yeah, we did that back in the 70s.
Yeah, it makes a real nice, I don't like that starved horse look. So
we called it the foam rib wing, where we just cut out the center and we sheet the whole wing, and then we cut out the center, use it kind of like lost something, and generate ribs and put back in. And Schaefer had one like that. It flew okay.
This one is more like a combat setup. I did the leading edge is a D tube. The leading edge is foam. Then I glued on a piece of 1/8 inch for a spar, or was it 3/32, and then I cut slots in it and locked the ribs into it. I'm probably going to do the trailing edge the same way, on the next one.
Mhm.
It's 35 ounces as it is here. The motor's in it, the tank's in it.
Yeah, that's good.
That includes the prop, so it'll be 40 ounces.
Mine was all up at 34 ounces.
Yeah, you got that unobtainium wood. But the problem is with that unobtainium wood is they're so hard to handle. I mean, even with 4 and 5 pound wood, you're breaking stuff all the time.
Well, when you're places where you have where you're handling the airplane, you use a little denser wood, but you can get away with lighter wood in other places. My son, by the way, calls my wood supply his inheritance.
Yeah.
Is he still flying?
Yeah, he's back flying again. He's home. He was out at Boeing for 6 years, and then he moved back here, got a job. He couldn't afford to buy a house out there. It was cost of living was just so high, and he's a bachelor, and couldn't afford to buy a house and could barely afford to rent an apartment. So he moved back. So he's, my wood supply is dwindling.
He's using up his inheritance now.
Yeah, he's taking it, inheritance now. It's like it's like a balsa wood annuity,
Yeah, that's a pretty good example. Yeah, you should see the wing I got designed up, Rusty. It's a elliptical wing. Yeah, it's elliptical wing, and it's interlocking ribs, geo-style ribs, cross ribs. And they're all locked together on this elliptical wing. It looks great. I'm sure it'll look great covered in something. I think I'd want to almost keep it semi-transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I built with fancy rib work, I would want it transparent too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely want to show that off.
Most of my ribs say R1, R2, R3, R4.
These have got rib R3A and R3B and R4A and things like that. But I got a question. When you get interlocking ribs like that, cross ribs locking together, what kind of spar do you need to have? I mean, I've got it set up for a spar, but I've been told in some of them you didn't even have to have a spar the way they locked up. Is that true?
Well, the only thing I've done with interlocking ribs and stuff, I actually did a foam core wing with interlocking ribs. And it was interesting that the foam core, you couldn't twist it, but it wouldn't support its own weight. All right. There's no longitudinal strength in the interlocking ribs.
Right.
But there was a lot of torsional strength. So you're back to putting whatever spar it takes to keep the wing from bending, top and bottom cap spars, or some kind of a beam, or just shading the wing, of course, and you get the the structure and the
you got to take into account the torsion.
You're going to leave it wide open. You're going to leave it wide open. I lobby for something like even just a cap, top and bottom spar.
Yeah,
right on the surface.
You have tension and compression, and you have to have a spar. Top spar is going to be in compression, and inside loops, the bottom will be in tensile. If you don't have those, or something to tie it together, prevent it from bending, you're going to get what's called racking, where the top tries to clap hands with the bottom, and under load, and it's called, technical term is called racking. So you need something to prevent the top from moving in opposition to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good because I did. I'm glad to hear that. I did put in a top and bottom rib. It's 1/8 by quarter, and it's laid flat. It's not laid vertically. And then I've got a leading edge sheeting on it, and of course trailing edge sheeting. And I should hope that should be enough. But I'm asking because I've never experienced this, and I know some of you have experienced this kind of wing.
Do you have any shear webs between the two spars?
I haven't put any between there on the design yet, but it's doable,
That's what's really important, again, because if you don't interlock them, prevent them from moving in opposition to one another, when you do an inside loop, for instance, the top is in compression. It's trying to force together, bottom trying to pull apart. And if there's nothing to prevent those from happening, the wing wants to do this. This is what it wants to do. So you put shear wave in, it locks the two spars so they can't move in opposition to one another.
Is that why a D tube is the strongest wing?
D tubes or C tubes with shear webs, which is essentially a D tube.
Mhm.
Would you say to run the? Would you say to run the? Would you say to run the shear web out about halfway to half the span then?
Yeah, I don't think you need to run it all the way. You got a diminishing load. I run them out typically one bay past the landing gear, just so I have some support at the landing gear area. One bay past, that's all you really need. You know?
Yeah, it's funny. I had the computer figure out where not the center of mass, but where the area on one side was at the equal point of the area on the other side for a complete elliptical wing. And I don't think I need to go that far with the shear web. I'm not planning on mounting the gear in the wing because it's just right now it's a new concept. I don't need to add that complexity into it. Keep it in the fuselage. But I wanted to see what a pure 100% elliptical wing will do. I've heard it's kind of, some people say it's great. Some people say it ain't worth the work.
Well, here's my take on it. The Spitfire was very maneuverable, right? It was elliptical wing. So why did it have less area at the tips? What did that do for it? It made it roll easier. It was less resistance to roll. What don't we want?
It rolling.
Yeah. So elliptical wings, from one perspective, you know, they may have other advantages or disadvantages. But one disadvantage is they're easier to roll.
Mhm.
They're less resistant to roll. So if you do get a banging or a rolling, the airplane's going to be more prone to roll easier than a wing that's not elliptical. Now there may be other advantages to it. I don't know. I know that several very famous modelers have built elliptical airplanes. I mean, Bob Homer, you know, and he liked them in the wind. I don't know if there's anything indigenous to the elliptical wing that makes it better in the wind or not. You know, I would think that again the less tip area would make it more prone to roll.
Is that why he was using differential flaps?
No, I don't know why he was. I know that, you know, he didn't have any fingers on his hand, and he needed to have tension on the thing. So I think what he did was he had it always set up so that when he did maneuver, it would slightly bank out. Because he flew with a glove, and the lines were connected to a bar at the end of the glove, and he moved his wrist up and down to get control. He had chopped his hands off in a die cutting accident at J.C. Yates's shop, I think it was, where they made the Madman, and he had to put a special glove on. So his airplanes were set up very sensitive, you know, and I think he also had things built in to give him some pronounced tension on the lines when he was flying.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it just goes to show you where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of taking a fairly long motor trip with him, and he's a very interesting guy. I mean, he was an amazing craftsman, and you know, he worked at Lockheed, and he was on the SR-71 project and the Hercules and the Constellation and all those airplanes. He did all the fillets and fairings. He designed and made all the templating and tooling to do the fairings on all those airplanes. You know, the filleting and things. Really an amazing guy.
He also told me that he did models of some of them and flew. He launched them off. Somebody flew them in glide testing that to make sure that what the engineers were doing was going to work.
Yeah.
said you did the Nighthawk, the 117.
I don't.
That thing, and it.
Was he part of that project? I think he retired, but
That's what he told me.
I know he was on the SR-70.
He was only. Yeah, well, he told me he did the Nighthawk, the 117, but that was later on in in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, he worked on the Hercules and the Constellation, the Shooting Star. I worked on a lot of those airplanes with Kelly Johnson, the Skunk Works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting guy.
Hey, Sparky, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
If I cut out of here early, can you watch over these guys? I got to get up at like 4:30 in the morning, and I'm running out of gas fast.
Well, I'm sorry I can't because I've got to drive to St. Louis in the morning. I'll be heading out here in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
Well,
I'm just going to head out anyway. I got to get some sleep. So good seeing you guys.
good
Yeah,
seeing you.
thanks for
Bob.
coming in.
Merry Christmas to
Santa
you.
Claus, be careful on your travel.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Safe journey, all that.
Yeah.
I will be
All right,
doing
Merry Christmas.
I will be doing a live stream from St. Louis when I'm painting or working in my shop, so we can have a meeting when I get to St. Louis on tomorrow night or night after Christmas.
I say tomorrow night's going to be a going to be a non-starter, but I don't know. Friday sounds pretty
Well,
good. But
I'll be back in full force Friday, but
yeah,
due to my treatment schedules, I got to get up, go to dialysis early in the morning.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that I can't do it,
That's fine.
and because I got to drive in the morning. I got to go to sleep here.
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Yeah, Bob, you too. Merry Christmas.
I'll see you guys on Friday.
See you on,
I'm not
yeah.
closing the show right this minute, but I just we had a lull in the talk, so I figured I'd take that to ask.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I'll probably run it till about 11 and cut the YouTube feed off and let y'all have a free for all.
Hey,
Thanks,
Denny,
Rusty.
Yeah.
are you building anything now or getting ready to?
Oh, been messing around trying to do the get back involved. I was doing an electric conversion for Brodak on the United kit, and I had to set it aside for a while, but just about ready to get back involved in that. And so that'll be the next thing. And there I have to build the fuselage and the wing on that. So
Those
as far as
3D
that, I've been thinking about what I want to build after that, but I don't know. Just I'm kind of struggling a little bit. I'm trying to clean up a bunch of open-ended projects before I start much else too. So
those 3D motor mounts that your brother's doing would be slick to incorporate into those Brodak kits.
they really would. When he started doing them, of course, he wasn't doing them then or anything like that. And the thing with the Brodak kits that one thing Brodak does on their own, of course, is they do their own laser cutting and stuff. So I was trying to do something that lent itself to laser cutting, plywood, light ply, stuff like that. Stuff that he can do right in his shop and help control his cost and stuff that way. But yeah, he could definitely do some of that stuff. Maybe make some of the universal kits. It's kind of like what he's doing for Tom Morris right now, where he sells Tom, parts and everything like that. And Tom has incorporated them into his electric fuselage builds, and it saves him a lot of time and effort on what he's doing. But yeah, there's you're right on target. The 3D printed stuff is something that I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of, over time. It helps us out of some problems, not just electric mounts, but any kind of custom any kind of custom parts you want. You know, we are by nature, you know, none of us are building a lot of anything. You know, we make a lot of our own handmade parts and stuff. And man, if you got the time and the talent to do the 3D work and stuff, you know, the design work, you can really come up with some golden parts. So
Has anybody looked into getting their own laser cutter for balsa and ply and stuff?
there's a few folks out there. Yeah, there's actually a machine out there. My brother, he's got, I think, 3 plastic printers right now, and he's set to get a new machine now that is the same machine will laser cut, 3D print, or 5-axis mill. Will
Wow.
actually mill balsa parts too.
Wow.
Yeah, so the same machine, you know, you come up with the design, but you could do things like you'll use it to like carve blocks before you put them in place and stuff like that.
So
So
you have to have talent with 3D CAD work then.
exactly.
That takes all the fun out of building if I can't carve my own blocks.
Well,
Yeah.
well, you're right about that, but you know, it's like Igor when he made his take apart airplane. Uh, he did things like he milled. You know, I guess the fuselage had a top and bottom block, but he had those milled out. And the way they milled them, he had basically a blank of wood there, and he milled the inside first. You know, the hollowed out portion, flipped it over because he still had a true surface that way, and then he milled the outside surface. And he had a, you know, by design, a uniform wall thickness through there and stuff. And he put it together, and yeah, carving the blocks consisted of a few passes with a sanding block, you know, to blend it with the fuselage sides and stuff. So I
That
don't
does
know.
take the fun out of it.
Well, I ain't got that kind of money, so I'll be doing everything by hand.
Well, that's it. That's it too. I mean, I absolutely love what Trion's done with his molded airplanes and stuff like that. But I enjoy building unique airplanes every time. I don't like to build the same airplane time after time and stuff like that. And unless you're going to, you know, I think that's where the real advantage of the molded airplanes come by is if you're going to, you know, make a whole bunch of the same or very, you know, small variation or something like that. Uh, but that's I. This is a hobby for me. You know, I like to compete and everything like that, but I like having some fun too. So
The creativity.
that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, the artistry. I think that's what my boys like. They like the artistry of creating, and they'd rather
Exactly.
be an artist than a computer designer. I think that's where they come from as well.
Hmm.
Well, it's like your Magistar. That was, in my opinion, was beautiful, and you know it was one where you thought outside the box. You found something that intrigued you, and you incorporated. That's what I like doing. You know,
Hmm.
I like taking a scale outline of a like Gordon Delaney and I did. We took the scale outline of the KI-61, the Tony, and we used that scale outline with a few changes and came up with a successful stunt ship.
Yep.
Big, yeah.
Did you guys see the MC-72 build that I did a while back? I sold it already, and which was actually a giant Tucker, but it was a little different than this because it was more scale like. It was a wider fuselage. I just took a 3 view off the internet and went to Kinko's and had them blow it up to the size that I wanted and plug the wing, in where I wanted it, and it looked just like it, scale airplane.
Yep.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
That was quite an accomplishment. I was sorry I never got to see that one in real life there, but yeah, I mean, but that's exactly it. And even, you know, I've had airplanes like uh, well, John has shared his story of how he come up with his twin engine design, and he even, you know, wrote the background, if you will, and you know its history. You know, there how the Luftwaffe come to design it and everything like that. Well, I designed what I called an inline GB. All right, and a and then I was inspired by Snyder Cup racers, I didn't take the Tucker route, didn't take the Supermarine route. You had a Supermarine way back when too, didn't you, Sparky?
I still got it.
Okay. But I like when you take things like that, and even if they're not true scale models, but there's certain things there that are certain signatures, like the rocker panel humps on the Snyder racers.
That was
But,
tough
Yeah.
to do too.
yeah, that was when done right. I mean, those things are just they're beautiful, and
Do you,
they make a strong statement about the airplane.
do you
So
remember my S6B Supermarine?
I've seen a couple of pictures of it. I never saw it in real life, but
Well,
you
what I
posted a
use
few pictures. So
what I used for the rocker boxes was the 1 inch lead, like a voodoo leading edge.
yep, okay.
I used, glued. I took a while to get them positioned just right, but I glued them up there, sanded them, and molded them in. And that airplane was light. It weighed 58 ounces,
Hmm.
66-inch wingspan.
Yeah.
That's that's why it wasn't a successful airplane. It was just too big. It's too big to haul around.
Yeah.
But that's
Well,
kind of Denny liked. Denny, you like those big high aspect ratios.
well, let's just say the next couple are going to be probably more like uh, what Gerald was showing, easier here. Anything I'm driving a subcompact car now, so anything I have, the wing is going to have to come off in either one piece or two pieces. All right. So
Well, my
Yeah.
next airplane, I made my mind up already. Is I like the way my first Junar flies
uh-huh.
with the Super Tiger in it. It's got a 10-inch nose moment and a 16-inch tail moment, so it's a short coupled airplane. And that wing looks very similar to the Tucker wing. Well, I'm going to build those numbers, exact same numbers, with a Tucker fuselage, so I'll have a big Tucker.
I think that's a heck of a plan. It's a good looking design and everything like that, and I think, and of course, the way you build it and everything like that, you'll execute it, beautifully. So
Well,
Well,
that's, that's
I like you. I like to take a scale looking airplane and try to make it into a usable stunt ship. There's some of them, like I looked at the Rapide, the little twin engine biplane.
yep,
What is it? It was, yeah. Anyway, that's ridiculous to think of as a stunt ship, but it might be fun to try to do it. You know?
sure, sure. Well, the repeat is I remember the first time I saw a picture of a repeat, it was like, my God, that thing is like a sculpture out there. Two long
Yeah.
high aspect ratio wings, those beautiful little gypsy moth engine, nacelles and everything like that. And of course, all the shapes are de Havilland, which are
Yeah.
very stylish.
you guys probably didn't see the Gloucester Meteor I built. It had
Did not.
a fuselage that big around on it.
Uh,
Too fat, too draggy.
hmm.
You know,
We've got a
we're doing a specific purpose with these airplanes. It's kind of like designing a sprint car or something to go left. So you want asymmetry, which is the stagger, and you want the engine and rudder offset, which is the pitch or the wedge. So you kind of got to. We all have to kind of stay in the same parameter, just so that I mean, that's what works. If you start getting way out of the box, with fuselages that big around, and of course, Jim Lee had that GB. It flew okay, I guess.
But you can
That's that
go.
extended GB.
Yeah, it wasn't the Bob Miller extended GB, but it was like the Model Y Sportster, and it was probably about, or Sparky, what was that? About a 6-inch fuselage anyway.
It's a good size. It's pretty big. Yeah, it's got to be 6 inches around.
Yeah,
Six,
and he
eight.
was round and he carried it back, of course, and it's stringered and everything like that. So the look was spectacular. It really, I mean, you looked at it and there was no question of what the airplane was. So,
I think he had a problem with the wheel pants. Is why it didn't fly very well. He had them. I don't know. Yeah, that's what it was. He had to add clay because it was so much weight underneath the airplane, or I mean, just humongous wheel pants.
So he had like a vertical CG problem then with the wheel pants being too heavy or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, okay.
But I remember at the Nats, he was having trimming problems, and he was adding gobs of clay on it to get it to trim out.
Yeah, I know he flew the thing for a few years. I guess I didn't know he had actually stopped flying it. So maybe he figured it out over time. Hang on a second. I want to grab something.
Well, guys, I'm gonna get off here. I got a long drive tomorrow.
Okay, well, good night,
Well,
Sparky.
Sparky,
We'll see you from
Sparky,
the St. Louis Stunthangar.
All right, man. Drive safe, and we'll
All
see you
right.
later.
All
Have a
right.
good
Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
All righty.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah. Throw caution to the wind, John. Okay, John,
That
you
was
asked
bad.
me what I was working on. That's my conversion kit so far. All right.
Oh, that's cool.
That's the motor mount, front mounted motor with a built-in air
Uh-huh.
scoop. Okay. And that's made to distribute, the motor load into the front end, right? Up against the doublers and everything like that. And then
Pull it
there'll be
out.
a battery box, top and bottom shelf behind it that plugs into the back here. So it all kind of interlocks and everything like that. But the beauty of it is that it's all plywood. All right. And it's something that John Brodak can, he can cut all the pieces and
Yeah.
put them in a package and send them on out. And his conversion kits are anywhere from about, I don't know, around $7 or $8 up to, I think the expensive one is around 12 or something like that. Some of them have a few more pieces of wood in them and stuff, but that's what I've been doing most of what I've been doing, for John and everything like that. So that's
Have
why I
you
have
been
all these
making them?
airplanes.
Have you been making them specifically for certain models, or are some of them usable on several different models, or what?
And the answer is yes and yes. All right.
All right.
I've been trying to make like a universal mount that you could apply in different airplanes, and then trying to make specific ones, fit to a certain airplane and stuff like that. And the biggest difference, with those is that hopefully they fit a little bit better and they're a little more, just more integrated. The thing I do with the ones that are specific for an airplane is I'll usually put like a notch in a leading edge, which of course is specific to every different wing and stuff like that. But to try to get a little more length for the battery, you can push it back a little farther if you have to. This is one that I made for the Shark 402 that and this happened to be the rear mount version, but this kit comes with the parts and the instructions to build it with either a rear mounted motor, or you can mount it on the nose ring. It's a front mounted motor. So, and then because it's a profile, it's designed to interlock at the leading edge of the wing. Oops. And, in plan view, you get that locked into the wing too. It helps prevent the nose from doing that or anything like that. So it just helps distribute the load. Then on my profile mounts, they all have the battery access from the inboard side because it can't fall out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll have a strap on it, but the strap basically lets you carry the airplane from the pits to the circle, without the battery falling out. Once it's airborne, the battery's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
That's an excellent idea. Now, a specific question for me for my Christmas wish. You got one that fits my little Ellie?
Yes, I do. It's available in kit form. There is a conversion kit available on the website.
Great.
I'd have to go look up the number, but go on the Brodak website. It's on there. It's probably on the third page. Yeah.
I got a question for Dennis from a YouTuber, John Skukulak. Do you know John, Dennis?
I remember hearing his name before. Yeah.
He's been hanging out via YouTube. I think he's been on live a couple of times. But John wants to know: does Brodak or anyone else have a plane and electric power system combination available for a first step into electric, like a entry level electric setup?
Brodak has a couple of them. Of course, the most popular one is you can buy a Ringmaster, an almost ready to fly Ringmaster. It's built, it's covered, and they have a bag, if you will, with the motor, ESC, battery, timer. You got a checkoff box for the power system and a checkoff box for the airplane, for the ready to fly airplane. You can have it ready to go in a day or so. And they also have a system like that for the Super Clown, same class of airplane as the Ringmaster. In fact, that was his first one back in 2007 or so, or something like that. That was the first commercially available control line electric airplane. And you can buy that airplane again as a ready to fly. So it's just a little bit of assembly to it, and you can buy a package of parts to power it. And yes, they work very well. So
there you go, John.
you have to go to
Thanks,
the
Steve.
Brodak website, look up the electric airplanes. If nothing else, give them a call and chat with the ladies there in the hobby shop. Can help them out on that too. Help guide them. His biggest choice is going to be what color airplane does he want.
Oh,
Sounds
that's
good.
quite neat.
So
Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and finish the YouTube feed off, and I'll let y'all have the airwaves while I get showered and ready for bed.
yeah,
And
that shower sounds like a good idea, Rusty. So
I don't know if I got enough energy for the shower. Actually, I just want to go to bed.
all right, well, go for it, and good luck with your procedure tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I will. And thank y'all for coming in. This is officially the shortest show we've ever done, but I appreciate all y'all coming in and making good conversation. And same for you YouTubers. We had a lot of Merry Christmases. I didn't read them all off, but a lot of people I didn't know in YouTube, and I'm glad I didn't just assume they were trolls, because they weren't. And I know we got a lot of viewers that don't always announce themselves, but I see them when I go to contests and things, and they come tell me, "Hey, Rusty, I watch your show all the time." So no telling who's watching this.
Hey, you're
And
a rock star, man. That's all.
yeah, y'all all have a Merry Christmas, and we will be back in full force on Friday. And till then, fair winds, tight lines, and we'll see y'all later.
We'll see you
See
later,
ya.
Rusty. Good
Merry
night.
Christmas,
All right,
Merry
take it
Christmas.
easy. Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, I think this is a good sign off for the rest of us too. I don't know. I think I'm gonna bail out on you guys too. So
Yeah, I better get busy with that.
I'm gonna
Merry
go back and see if I can reclaim my my disk drive we were talking about earlier. So I'm gonna get on that. So
Good
good
luck.
night, everybody.